What's up, guys? Today I'm going to do my full card reaction to UFC 309. What happened last night. Overall, I thought it was ass. I'll be honest. I thought it was pretty mid, pretty boring, just kind of shit. I don't know. The main card was like really. The prelims kind of carried it. The main card I thought was very snooze fest. We'll get into it. Make sure you guys like and sub. Let me know if you got any of your predictions right. I went 9-3, which is good. Would you guess? Two of the fights I got wrong were the women's fight. So you can't, like, this is, I'm not misogynistic, but you can't predict women's fights. You just can't. You can't predict women's fights. The two fights I got wrong were the women's fights, and then Marcin Tybura apparently is good now, so we'll get right into it. Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Moura. Now, obviously, I got this pick wrong. I went with the hotter one, which is Veronica Hardy. Hey, Eduarda, you know, she's not bad looking herself, but who cares about this fight? Anyways, Oban Elliott, Basil Hafez. Now, this was cool. Oban Elliott's a beast. He's become, legitimately, this guy's like one of my favorite up-and-comers now, bro. This guy's awesome. He smokes Basil Hafez in the third round. Absolutely insane finish. I believe it was was it a 2 right on the jaw? It was just a clean shot right on the chin of Basil Hafez. Hafez, you know, I genuinely believe the theory Basil Hafez was on steroids against Jack Della Maddalena because he looked smaller in this fight. He didn't look as big. He looked smaller, and he was like way stronger. He was, bro, in that JDM fight, the guy was fighting like he was on EPO, and with the amount of grappling he did, and it was just different, bro. And now you look at this fight. He comes in a little bit skinnier. He's not using the grappling at all. And he just slowed down significantly in the third round. Even though in the third round he got a bit wild, which is what really got him caught, I think. Oban Elliott's a beast. He's awesome. The Welsh gangster himself. I'm really excited to see this guy's career and see what he does in his career because I really like this guy. Shout out Oban Elliott. This was pretty awesome, to be honest, from him. So the first 2 rounds are kind of mid, but he smoked this guy in the third. So I got that pick right as well. I got this pick right. Ramiz Brahimaj versus Mickey Gall. The Bronx Bomber himself. I didn't know this guy was from the Bronx. I would have guessed this guy was, well, he says it's from the United States, so. But he did amazing. He did great as well. He smoked Mickey Gall. He knocked him out. I mean, this guy's awesome. Again, another, like, really, really cool prospect at welterweight, too, which is cool. I mean, I'd love to see him versus Oban Elliott one day. Another cool guy to look out for. You know, he smoked Mickey Gall. I mean, what else you guys want me to say? Not really surprised by it. I predicted it. He beat him. Like, shouts at Ramiz. He's pretty cool. And yeah, I don't know. Not much else to say with this one, but shout to him. Now, this was a bit wild. Jonathan Deniz versus Marcin Tybura. First of all, what did I just click on? Sorry. Marcin Tybura all of a sudden knows how to fight. Like, this is why I hate heavyweight MMA, bro. Like, Marcin Tybura got smoked by Tom Aspinall. Like, he loses to all these guys, and then you're like, all right, well, maybe Tybura. And then he beats Jonathan Deniz, and it's like, and he, like, destroys Jonathan Deniz. He got rocked bad by Deniz, don't get me wrong. And the stoppage was kind of weird because, like, obviously Deniz looked fucked, right? And he obviously was rocked. I don't know. The more I think about it, I think it was fair initially, and I think this was just because I picked Deniz, so I was kind of salty. I was like, early stoppage, what the fuck? But, and obviously Deniz did protest it, but he did get carried to his stool, which is illegal, by the way, but they just don't care. Look, here's what I learned about this card, especially when it came to the back of the head shots on the co-main event. The UFC will never be considered a real sport because they don't follow their own rules. That's just what it is. And I know other sports, they have fuck ups too, but like, can you imagine if the NFL just like ignored like basic things? Imagine if like, and again, I know it happens sometimes in the NFL, the refs don't pick up on holding calls or whatever, but I feel like in the UFC, it's just so much more like, anyways, man. Anyways, Marcin Tybura won. Hey, man, and that Tom Aspinall wins looking much better. So, and overall, though, Jonathan Deniz got his ass beat. elbowed really bad. His face looked crazy after the fight. I was even gonna put it in the thumbnail, but I'm like, no, like that looks. Nobody would see this video because it would get like completely flagged or hidden. So Tyburo's, hey man, Tyburo's actually pretty good, and let's see what he does next. So I got this pick wrong, unfortunately, but can you fucking blame me? It's Tybura. David Onama versus Roberto Romero. This was pretty good. This was great, actually. Both these guys came to fight. This was a great back and forth fight. It was awesome. It was really fun. Romero made his debut. This was him making his debut, and he really wanted it, man. He really went for it. He really tried to kill Onama out there. Onama did good too. He hurt Romero a couple of times. Um, Overall, I thought this was a pretty awesome fight, and obviously I picked David Onama. I got this pick right. Obviously Onama did get the decision as well. So yeah, not too much to say. Great win for Onama, and I'm curious to see and excited to see what he does next at lightweight. Damon Jackson versus Jim Miller. I don't know why so many people pick Damon Jackson. Like I was actually surprised when I saw like I think Guru picked Damon Jackson and I think Bedtime was gonna pick Damon Jackson. I'm like, dude, Damon Jackson is like dog shit. Like I know Jim Miller is kind of shit too, but like I don't know. I don't know. I just was like, well, they're both shit, but like who's less shit? Okay, Jim Miller's less shit. All right, Jim Miller's gonna win. This was an Unk versus Unk fight. And the lesser of the two Unks is Jim Miller. You know what I mean? Like he is stronger than Damon Jackson physically and you know what I mean? He's just fresher. Like I don't know. I just went with Jim Miller. He got a guillotine which was really good. Really good finish. Shout Jim Miller. That was really cool to see him get a finish and get a good win. You know, let's feed him to let's do let's do Jim Miller versus Patty Pimblett. I don't know. Jim Miller versus whoever the fuck. I got this pick right though, so shout Jim fucking Miller, baby. Awesome to see him still win. Obviously, this fight, Chris Weidman, Eric Anders didn't happen. Jonathan Martinez, Marcus McGee. Marcus McGee. That's all my buddy Marcus McGee. Uh, Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. Yeah, Jonathan Martinez is a retard. I picked Marcus McGee and I got the pick right, so that's cool. But Jonathan Martinez had Marcus McGee's leg fucked. I mean, fucked. I believe it was second round and then going into the third, obviously, leg was destroyed. And what does Jonathan Martinez do in the third round? Guess what he does, guys? Guess what? This high level, one of the best bantamweights in the division, high level ranked, I know he's not ranked, but high level bantamweight does. He has a guy's leg hurt with leg kicks. So does he say, "Oh, let me strike with him. Let me keep chopping the legs"? He obviously doesn't have an answer for your leg kicks. Let me try to set up a high kick, maybe. No, what does Jonathan Martinez do? He holds him against the cage. He holds Marcus McGee against the cage like a fucking retard. And again, I didn't even pick Martinez, so I don't even care. But it's just like, how dumb do you have to be? What is wrong with your fight IQ, bro? Why are you holding a guy on one leg against the cage? Why are you trying to grapple with him right now? He's on one leg. Chop his leg again and again. Throw a body kick. Throw a head kick. Fucking retard. You deserve to lose if you're that dumb. Marcus McGee got the win, but it wasn't a great look, dude. Like he's 32. You know, if that happens to your legs, man, to Jonathan Martinez. But Jonathan Martinez is a good ass leg kicker. He couldn't do that to Aldo because Aldo was like the greatest leg kick checker of all time. So, but anyways, Marcus McGee, decent performance, but obviously Martinez could have put him away in the third, and he's too stupid. So I got that pick right. Mauricio Huffy versus James Lontop. Now, I thought this fight was pretty good. I thought this fight was actually great. Definitely the best fight on the main card. Uh, but here's my sort of actually no, either this or the co-main event, which we'll get to. But I have issue with not this fight, but the criticisms of Mauricio Huffy in this fight. I've seen so many people say he's been fraud checked. I've seen people say, "Oh, he couldn't put away James Lontop. He's not going to do anything in this division." Oh, yada yada yada. I saw Rogan on commentary was like, "He's already gassed." Da, 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 da. Like it was like I was infuriated because first of all, I'm gonna glaze Mauricio Huffy right now. This was his second fight in the UFC. his second fight in the UFC. Okay, this was at a catch weight, so he fights at 155. I believe so does James. On top of that, James Lontop came in overweight because this fight was at 165 and James Lontop missed weight, I believe, by either a pound or a half a pound. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, that's only a half a pound. But if you're cutting weight, that half a pound, Mauricio Huffy made weight. He made weight, so he had to really grind out and cut that last half a pound, last pound, pound and a half, whatever the fuck. Lontop did it, so now he gets to rehydrate easier. So he came in overweight. Mauricio Ruffy, obviously, he came in shape. Lontop had a fucking muffin top. So he's overweight by like 10 pounds plus. And this was Huffy's second fight ever in the UFC against a guy with an iron chin, clearly, and James Lontop. It's so funny because everybody before the fight was like, oh, this is going to be a tough guy for Huffy to knock out. Everyone agreed on that, right? Then the fight happens, and it's like, damn, he could have knocked out James Lontop. He's never going to be anything in this division. What do you got? Like, this is why I hate MMA fans, and this is why I hate, like, just the MMA community sometimes. They're so dumb. You guys can't glaze. I mean, some people were like, "Oh yeah, James Lontop, he's really tough. This is gonna be a tough guy for Huffy to knock out." He basically dominates all 3 rounds, Mauricio Ruffy. Maybe he lost the third. And still, people like I don't understand. He cracked James in the first. He cracked him in the second. He cracked him every round. Like this was a dominant Mauricio Ruffy performance, pretty much. Like there's a lot of really cool moments in here. The look away hook, the chew down the pipe. Like this guy's awesome, bro. He is very similar to Conor McGregor. I can kind of see it now, where it's like he really does have that. I don't know. It is kind of odd, but obviously really cool. I think Ruffy's going to do good in this division. I completely disagree that, because he couldn't knock out James Lontop, a guy who was heavier than him. This was at a catch weight. I disagree that because he couldn't knock out him, that he's never going to knock out anybody and do anything. I would love to see Mauricio Ruffy versus Benoit Saint Denis next. I know he's ranked, but I don't know why my nose got all stuffed. I know Benoit is ranked still, and maybe that's a bit too high, but maybe if not, maybe Jalen Turner, maybe somebody like that, maybe RDA. I know he's ranked 15, but he's gonna recover from his ACL, so probably not that. I'm thinking maybe Jalen Turner. I'm thinking Jalen Turner is probably likely. So we'll see. I thought Ruffy did good in this fight. Obviously, I got this pick right as well. I don't really understand the I don't really understand it. Vivian Arujo versus Karine Silva. So Vivian won. So I got this pick right actually. So I went 9-3. So I went 10-2 actually then. I got this I forgot Is this bad? I forgot I picked Vivian Arujo. So I actually went 10-2 instead of 9-3. So well, I went 10-2 guys. Like I think of all the big MMA YouTubers, and I'm not there yet, but man, I might have did better than some of the big names that you guys are thinking of. So Vivian Arujo, she did her thing. I thought the fight was overall it was a women's MMA fight. No, it was fun. It was fun. It was better than this next fight though. Overall, it was fun. But this next fight though, Jesus Christ, Bone Knuckle, hey, Bone Knuckle, plus this Paul Craig. Uh, hey man, I was watching this fight and I was like, fuck, I should have picked Paul Craig. Obviously, he ended up losing, but Bone Knuckle Bone Knuckle, Bone Nickel. Oh my god, fucking Bone Knuckle. Bone Knuckle looked terrible. The obviously the grappling canceled it out, right? Because like he didn't want to get submitted by Paul Craig, so he just decided I'm gonna strike with this guy because this guy's too dangerous on the ground for me to grapple. But then it's just like so you're gonna have a boring like striking decision with against Paul Craig, a guy that just got smoked by Kyle Baraujo, a guy that's like been knocked out by like so many names recently. Like the dude got knocked out by Johnny Walker. Like who gets knocked out by Johnny Walker nowadays? And I don't know how long ago that fight was, to be fair, but Paul Craig Like he actually did better than I thought. Bo Nickel did worse than I thought he would do. I thought he would actually knock this guy out. He hit Paul Craig with decent shots, but Paul Craig was hitting him with some good hooks. Like, dude, Bo Nickel looked terrible, man. It's it's so funny to me because Bo Nickel he talks about how like he talks about how like, oh, I look at Hamza Chimaev's wrestling and I just think like, man, I would beat this guy. And I'm like, dude, like now, especially looking at this fight, you couldn't even beat Paul Craig. I'm not picking Bo Nickel against any top guy now. I'm not even talking about. I wouldn't even pick him against Shara Bullet. I would not pick him against Joe Pyfer. I would not even pick him against Jack Hermanson. I don't know if that sounds crazy. I really wouldn't, dude. I think Bo Nickel's like I really, really don't rate him high at all after this fight, man. I really don't. I really don't. I'm sorry. I just think this was such a bad performance. I also feel like Bo Nickel's strategy is like kind of counterintuitive. His strategy is basically, and I'm talking about his fight strategy, not his fight strategy in the actual octagon, but I'm talking about his strategy of like fighting once or twice a year is really dumb. I think he should be fighting way, way, way more frequently because I feel like he just needs more actual octagon experience. Like, yeah, you can train all you want with like Gable Steveson and like whatever other striker you get. Gordon Ryan is a grappler, I know, but like who's like a good striker. You could train with all the strikers and but like, bro, it's different when you're in the octagon, bro. And it's just like clearly, I just feel like he needs way more reps. So I feel like he should face another unranked guy. I don't even know because honestly, bro, I mean, look, if it was up to me, I would do him versus Bullet Magomedov, and I believe it's Abu Dhabi in February. I think they just announced. I would do him versus Bullet, but he wouldn't want to fight in 4 months. So he's not. It is what it is. Bo Nickel fucking sucks. And Paul Craig, it was a close decision. Low key, they could have given it to Paul Craig. I don't know. If Paul Craig's name was Paul Craigomedov, they would have given him the decision. You guys know that, right? Anyways, fuck Bo Knuckle. You know what? Do Bo Nickel versus Ikram Aliskerov. Fuck it. Why not? Charles Dubronx. Boa! Charles Dubronx, brother! Charles Dubronx! Charles Dubronx, brother! Charles Dubronx! Charles Oliveira. Um, I love this version of Oliveira. Now, it's not as entertaining as the usual Oliveira we see, but I think this version of Oliveira has a very, very good chance, a higher chance than the previous versions of beating Islam Makhachev. Now, I don't think he does. I don't think he does. But I just think, man, Charles Oliveira, he looked good in this fight. I love the patience. I love the patience. He used a little more grappling, which is not like very typical, man, of Oliveira to use more grappling like that. Oliveira usually, yeah, he does grapple. Like, he has grappled, but like, shooting double legs and holding, I don't know, it was different. He was like Charles Oliveira Magomedov or whatever the fuck, but I thought it was good because it showed me like this patient Oliveira does better against guys like Arbon and Islam. I really do. I actually like. I know we're gonna break down the fight. Don't worry, but I actually think he beats Arbon Sarukian in a 5 rounder. But we'll get to that. I just smacked my mic. We'll get to that. Round one. Really, it was round one, two, and three where I was like, dude, Michael Chandler should not even be in the octagon right now. He was getting hurt very, very, very badly by Charles Oliveira, especially those first 2 rounds where I was just like, this is a joke. Like, I think one of those rounds you could argue at least one or two of those rounds were 10-8s as well, which was crazy. I think it was round one or two, which I thought was like, oh, that's a 10-8. It was bad, bro. He was getting fucked on. Hey, no Jones. He was getting fucked on the feet. Oh my God, no Jones, definitely not. He was getting his ass beat on the feet, Michael Chandler, and then he was getting his ass beat on the ground. You had submission attempts, like, but round five, obviously, Chandler had success. He almost knocked out Charles Oliveira, but then he blatantly hits him with 15 back of the head shots. Again, what did I say earlier in this video? The UFC will never be a real sport because they don't follow their rules. Like how do you have such an incompetent ref that he can't see that the guy's hitting him? That would be okay. It's just like would the NBA allow like I don't know fucking who's like I don't know, Lonzo Ball. Would they allow Lonzo Ball to like fucking travel 15 times? No. So why is this guy allowed to hit him in the back of the head 15 times? Also, did you guys see Lonzo Ball got fined $100,000 for saying no homo? Fuck the NBA, gay ass sport. This is why I watch real men's sport like the UFC. Anyways, dude, he hit him in the back of the head so many times. The ref is retarded. Like, we need to actually get new young refs in there. Like, honestly, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Why do we have guys like Keith Peterson, Herb Dean, what's that guy's name? Hey, buddy, listen. What's his name? Mark Goddard. Sorry. Why do we have like these Jason Herzog, these old ass refs? Can we actually start getting like some young refs with like good reaction time? I feel like these refs are just too slow nowadays. I feel like the stoppages are way too late too. Like, it's weird. I don't know. There was a stoppage I think on this car where I'm like, dude, you let that guy take an extra 10 punches to the head. It was just weird. Like, there was just a lot of that. There's been a lot of that recently. Also, um and I don't know if this fight kind of proved it. Other fights did. I think the gloves might actually have been an issue. The new gloves. But anyways, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler. Sorry, I went on a whole different thing. Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler. Overall, pretty great fight. Round five, Chandler. Yeah, he did a lot of fouls. He grabbed the cage as well. I think in round one, and he grabbed the cage multiple times throughout the rest of the fight. Um, he's a blatant cheater. I think he was even grabbing the gloves and was getting warned for grabbing the gloves a couple of times. He's a blatant cheater. Um, I genuinely think this guy might have a Chris Benoit type thing. If you know, you know, because he's just weird. Like, he adopts certain children. I mean, there's nothing wrong with adopting that, but like, he goes about it very weird. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch Guru's videos on it. Michael Chandler's a fucking strange individual, but look, round five was really cool. He slammed Oliveira, then stood up and slammed him again. That was really cool. Obviously Oliveira wasn't really phased by it. Oliveira did amazing in this fight. I would love to see Oliveira fight, and I'll do a separate video after this, like who I want to see fight next. I'll do one for Chandler, Oliveira, all these big names, but I don't think Oliveira getting a title shot is that bad, honestly. So overall, Oliveira, amazing performance, and we'll see what's next for both of these guys. Chandler should legitimately fight like Rafael Fiziev, Jalen Turner, um, Mateus Gamrot. Like, he should not get Max Holloway next. He shouldn't get Justin Gaethje next. He shouldn't get any big name next. I'm sorry. Fight a below rate. Fight the winner of Moicano versus Paddy Pimblett or something. Sorry, I just don't like the idea of Chandler getting big names over and over again. Main event, I already did a separate video on this. John Jones, Stipe Miocic. I didn't care for this fight. I'll be honest. I just didn't care for it in the moment. I didn't care for it when John won. I just didn't care. I just didn't care for it. I didn't think it was a good fight. I thought it was just two old men doing old men things. I thought Stipe looked very slow. He looked like Mike Tyson out there on Friday. Just looked really slow, really lethargic. He just looked like he just, yeah, horrible fight. Um, I'm not gonna praise John at all for this win. Like the people on Twitter are. There's people on Twitter like, oh yeah, John Jones is amazing. It's like, how are you even praising him for beating like? And then I'm seeing people like, oh, I thought Aspinall was gonna beat him, but I don't know, man. I'm like, bro, you guys all predicted John Jones was gonna beat Stipe before this fight in a round. Some of you guys, I thought so too. I was like, oh, he might knock him out round four. I predicted round 4 or 3. I think, which is like, oh, there you go, right? I went with either round 3 or 4. Elbows is what my prediction was. Elbows or a submission. And he got the elbows in the first round. But I don't know why people are so shocked that like John Jones smoked Stipe. Like, we all predicted it and then it happened and then you guys gonna give him credit for it. It is what it is. But yeah, round one, great round for John. Took him down. Look, I'll say this: John looked faster than he did in the Cyril Gane fight. But like, that fight was only a minute, so that's not going off of much. But he looked a bit faster. John smoked him in the first round. Obviously he took him down. He elbowed him. He did his thing. Stipe surprisingly didn't really get cut until like the last elbow, so that was, he's very durable. You got to give Stipe credit; he's a very durable guy. He hadn't fought in like 3 or 4 years. I think it was like 3 years. He hadn't fought in like 3 years, and he hung in there with the greatest of all time, quote unquote. But stood in there in the first round. Second round did a lot better with his striking. I think one judge actually gave him the second round. I don't know if I did, but he looked a lot better in the second round. John was blatantly running away from Stipe's punches, which is hilarious. Um, and then the third round, I think Stipe he did a little bit better too. But John Jones just did his thing. He set up the body kicks the whole fight. Like I had said in my other video, he was setting it up the whole fight, and then he just did what he did. He even threw a couple head kicks, but Stipe, he blocked them. But dude, Stipe was just too old. He was just too old. He had ring rust. Like he hadn't been in there in a while. Like you just can't. Like there's no way you could like legitimately. There's no. I don't know. People pick Stipe. I'm sure there are people that actually predicted Stipe. I didn't. Even though, funny enough, I kind of wanted to. Like I was like, you know what, fuck it, let me just pick Stipe. But obviously, he was never gonna win. But it's like I don't know. It's just crazy to me that this fight even happened. It almost instantly felt like a gimmick fight. As soon as the bell rang, it was just like, this is a gimmick. This is just not real. Once it was over, it felt like a gimmick. This whole thing felt like WWE to me. Like and like, I'm not even a political person. Am I? From like Donald Trump getting video packages dude, Donald Trump got a WWE like entrance, and then they did like this whole thing with him. And then all the fighters were going to Trump, and they were showing Trump on the screen. Trump had his own camera. They had like a Trump cam with him and Elon, where like they would show. It was wild, but vote Kamala, guys. Nah, but over no no, but seriously, man. And then Jones did the Trump dance. But I mean, we'll talk about the post fight stuff. So I think he will fight Tom Aspinall. I think the UFC will convince him. I think they're going to have to pay him an astronomical amount of money. And I also think he's going to make Tom wait for some reason. Like, I feel like the fight might happen in like December, which is not ideal because obviously he's been active, and I wouldn't want to see Tom have to wait a year and a half to fight again. But I think it should happen International Fight Week at the earliest, or really at the latest. I mean, John took no damage. He could fight like in fucking April. But yeah, it'll probably happen over the summer. I could see that happening over the summer. That would be a really cool fight. I'm gonna actually predict right now. Main event: Jones versus Aspinall, Las Vegas. Co-main event: Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. That's my prediction. I don't know. I just thought of that right on the spot. And also, I don't think McGregor is ever coming back to. By the way, but yeah, John Jones, he beat Stipe Miocic. It was a whatever performance. It was John Jones beating Stipe Miocic. It's like what you would expect. It wasn't like I'm not gonna dick suck him for it. And I'm sure he would like to, or he would like me to, fucking homo. But I'm not going to. So he needs to fight Tom Aspinall. I also think Tom Aspinall just smokes him. I'm gonna be honest. I really do. He's too quick. The way his head movement. He would just come in with that 1-2, man. He's good, bro. I just think Aspinall's good. I don't care. I'm gonna glaze him. I don't care. Tom Aspinall is 50,000 times quicker than Stipe Miocic was tonight, bro. Like, John Jones doesn't stand a chance. We are going to beat John Jones. Let me know what you guys thought of the card. What were your predictions? Again, I went 10-2, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. That's the best. We've done, what, 3 pay-per-views so far, and we've done, I think, 3 fight nights. So I think this is the best I've done. Um, yeah, so make sure you guys like and sub. See you guys next time. Overall, I thought the card was ass. It was kind of predictable results. Just not a waste of time, but I don't know. After Jones Stipe, I was like, this is kind of a waste of time. Like, it was just such a waste of time. It was just a free win for John Jones. I just didn't care. I don't know. Make sure you guys like and sub, I guess. Well, I will say this though, we're moving on to Yan versus Figueiredo, so I'm excited to do predictions for that one. I still don't know who I'm picking. I'm leaning Peter Yan. Make sure you guys like and sub. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.